Yeah, we also talked
Thank you, sir.
Oh, that must be a list of things that.
Yeah, they're all right.
You can have as many as you like.
Okay, all right, well. Yes, all right. I don't need one, but that's fine, because we had it in them. You need that, oh, you?
Nah.
All right.
Well, good morning.
All right.
So, it was already, yes, no, it had nothing to do with the plane shutting down this morning. Had nothing to do with this. But yeah, so today we're going to just cover some just basic terminology. You know, I wanted to start the year off, and I apologize. I really should have been doing this last week, but wound up having COVID. So it just took me out. I had it for Christmas and New Year's, everything, and it's better just to take a week off. But I want to start the year off and just basically cover basic terms. You know, things that, you know, to me is just normal, but, you know, to you may not be. You know, these things, like if I say, yeah, it's a PC or it's a Mac, you know, you may not understand the difference. What's the difference between a PC and a Mac? You know, but to me, I just know, you know, because I've been doing this for how long, you know, I was basically, I can't say, my grandkids were bottle fed on computers, whereas, you know, I went to school and learned it. You know, so I understand this stuff, but if I was just to start throwing this terminology out, you guys would be lost. So, just to understand, a PC stands for personal computer, and that is just that is a Windows-based or Microsoft, you know, device. It could all, there is an exception to that. It could be what we would call Linux, but I'm not. That's going down a whole nother rabbit hole. We're not going to get in there. And I've had people where they're like, "Oh, well, I did this, and you know, do you know anything about this?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we don't want to get in there." So, and then you have what we call Mac, which is short for Macintosh. I don't know if anyone remembers when Apple first brought out the Macintosh computers, and you know, they were really good computers, and you know, so you have a market share, and people want to know, well, which one do I buy? Which one should I get? It's all preference, honestly. I can't say that one's better than the other. I won't say that one is less subject to viruses. You know, I've heard so many people, and I've read reports where they say, you know, in 2020, Mac had the most virus attacks out of all computers. But then I read another report, and it says the biggest, you know, weakness is a PC. It's, you know, I can't say I know who has the best, you know. But then we also have, you know, iPads, tablets, iPhones, cell phones, you know, Android. These are all terminologies that, you know, I understand, but you guys may not. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to cover a few of them, and if you guys have questions with anything, just interrupt, and we'll if we gotta go down some rabbit holes, let's go. So I want to have fun today, and just, you know, whatever anyone wants to talk about, we can talk about. You know, and if it's something that's not single digits covered, you know, like I had someone ask me about their Wi-Fi, and I was telling them they use Spectrum. I can't help with Spectrum. You know, if it's a single digit thing, maybe I can help. So, when they do the setup, they're going to put what we call an access point or a router in every place. Up here, you can see that's an access point. All right, we're going to be putting access points in all rooms and actually here, because right now I think we have them in all the hallways. The problem with that, it gives you there may be dead spots. So the other one we're going to have is you guys are going to ask about is firewall. This is for security. What firewalls are, there's different types of firewalls. A firewall basically blocks unwanted traffic. It's set up with a program to say, hey, this stuff can come in where this stuff is blocked. And we will not allow certain things through. When we set up our system, it already has a firewall built into it, so it's going to be protecting you guys already. So that is going to be really nice. Last time I was here, people were saying, well, I use VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. And what that is you can be on a network, any network, and turn on a VPN, and it makes like a tunnel that only you sit in. So nobody else can get into your network and access your computer through your network. A VPN is very good for security. I tell people that if you have a VPN, use it. It works great. Now, if you are having problems with things coming in really slow, it may be the VPN that's slowing you down. Because you have to realize it is a tunnel within the network. So look at it like this. You have a giant room and everybody wants to get from one room to the other room. Well, if you have a VPN, you have a secret door into that other room. All right, everybody else is trying to get through. That door may not be a big door. You may have to crawl through it. So that's kind of what a VPN is. It's just a secure little area that only you know about. Antiviruses. I've had so many questions about what antivirus should I have? What do I need to have? Where, am I safe without antivirus? Do I have to have antivirus? That's a preference thing as well. Personally, I don't run antivirus on my computer, but I'm also an IT person, so I'll run malware protection, but not antivirus, because to me, antivirus slows things down.
What's the difference between antivirus and malware?
Good question. They're basically the same. Malware is a general thing. Viruses can be put on your computer through malware. So like I said, I don't run antivirus on mine. Now, I run firewall, and I run just, the Windows Defender, which is kind of like a antivirus program, but I just run Malwarebytes, Windows Defender, which comes on my computer, and use the actual firewall that comes on my computer. Do you need it? If you aren't sure of what you're doing, I recommend that you get antivirus. I recommend it. If you don't know what you're doing, yes, because it's a one-click thing.
How do you get
An antivirus, you can download free versions. You can purchase ones like Norton, Kaspersky. You can purchase them. There's free versions like, what is the one? Avast, that's a really good free version.
AVG.
AVG is another great version, and you can get free versions of it. The only difference between the free version and the paid version is they give you more coverage, I guess you could say. So it not only does it cover, all of them still give you antivirus protection, but the paid version will cover probably more computers, it'll cover your phone, it'll cover when you're online, while you're doing, there's a lot of things, the bells and whistles that come with it. But most people don't realize if you're paying attention to what you're doing, and this is going to be one of the security classes I'll teach, the easiest thing to do is look in that address bar up top. And in that address bar, you will see, when you go to a website, you'll see a little padlock up top. And that padlock, that's going to tell you 90% of the time if it's a secure website. If that's locked, don't worry, you're good. One of the things a lot of people will get is, they're so worried about with their banking. But with banking, online banking apps can be hacked as well. As long as you look at that little lock and it's locked, you're okay. Because that little lock says, at this time, we checked everything. We checked the whole website and there's no changes on it. And there's what we call a digital signature to that. So once that digital signature is on there, if there is just, and we all know computers are ones and zeros. If one of those ones and zeros are changed to either a 1 or a 0, that signature goes invalid, just like that. You cannot have something, a valid signature, if it wasn't, if it's been changed. So as long as that lock's locked, you're good. That's one of the security things. Now, I will also tell you this, Google. Everybody, how many people use Google here? Good.
Oh.
Really? Google this year has set aside, I want to say it's $33 or $34 million just on their cybersecurity. Google is really amping it up. They are out to, because they don't want to, they want to be used by everybody. So they are trying to make everybody safe at the same time, so people feel safe to use their program. I watched the speech with the speaker from Google, and that's what he said. They are devoting a good part of their stuff to their cybersecurity. So you may see changes in there. You may see things, how many people, and it drives me nuts, and I hate it too, but get that, are you a robot? Or click on the traffic lights.
Yep.
Or click on all the bicycles, and there's no bicycles there. You're like, what? But what they're doing is they're getting it to where what we call bots, which are computers that hackers use to get in. They can't figure out what all those pictures are. That's what that does. A bot can't figure out that, and it can't say, it can do random ones, and then it fails. So I hate on myself. I really do hate on myself, but it is a good thing. Another thing you're going to start seeing is what's called multi-factor authentication. Hate that. Yeah.
That works.
But it does work, because the idea is you're taking, it's not hard for somebody to hack a password. Passwords are the easiest thing to get. But it is hard for me to hack your cell phone. If I send a text message, I can't be on your cell phone and get a number. Or I can't sit there and use the biometrics on your cell phone that looks at your face or your thumbprint. You can't hack that. Yes, in the society that we're going into, technology is growing, and as technology grows, so does the bad guys. They kind of get a little heads up, then we have to catch up. They get a little heads up, we have to catch up. So we start doing stuff like, it's an inconvenience, but multi-factors is a great thing. I tell a lot of people, if you can use biometric, which is either your face scan, thumbprint, something like that, that works great. If not, just do the text message, because you can't hack it. The text message is too fast, or they can't get hacking. That I know of yet. I will say that, because, did not expect, the airport to be shut down.
Neither did the FAA.
Right. So, didn't expect it, but, it happens. Somebody is just works their way, and they're going to try it. Now, I will tell you this. One of the other things that most people don't realize is they don't come after your money. Everybody's like, well, I got so much money in the bank, my bank protects it. They don't want your money. They want your information. Your information is worth a lot more than any money you have. Because they could take that information and they can use it to access other things. They can use it to create accounts in different things. It's not always about money. If they have that information, they can use it to create an account just for, we'll say, computers to get in, to set up other bots. You have to have some information for different things like that. Information is very, very expensive. And, most of us will only ever touch the very top of the internet. We've heard of the dark web. The dark web goes, you can't fathom how big the web actually is. I had a class and, we had the teacher and he was like, I'm going to show you guys how this can go. And it gets really, really out there. And some of that stuff is so scary. I'm happy to stay, above the surface just on the top fringes of the internet. But down there, that's all they want is your ID, your information. If they can get your name, and they'll do social media hacks towards you. They'll try to figure out who you are and everything through Facebook. You'll get, how many people have got those text messages that say, hi, and you're like, I don't know you,
And I've had my password hacked so many times. Now why? How do you prevent that from Facebook? I'm to the point where I erased it with Facebook.
Yeah, right there with you. How long is your password? How many characters?
8.
Too short.
But how the heck are you supposed to remember? That's a hard one. Yeah.
We'll teach a class on this, but there is an actual kind of little trick that you can do. You can sit there and you have 8 characters, right? before your 8 characters, press 8 exclamations, then put your password, and then 4 or 8 asterisks afterwards. Now you just made this your 8-digit password
Right.
24 characters long. It's still that same little password that you remember, but it's got all this other stuff.
But she has to remember how much other stuff.
How
is
many
in
did I
each-
fit in?
Yeah,
And that's why, like I said, I do 8 or 4, 4 in the front, 4 in the back. And there's different ways, that is just a big thing. The more characters you have, the harder it is for them to hack.
Identity theft, is it worthwhile to get a program that helps prevent identity theft?
Yes. I mean, I will say this, identity theft is one of the biggest crimes out there. You don't hear
what
about
was
it.
the question?
Is it worth getting the protection for identity theft? LifeLock's one of the ones that does that.
How do you do that?
You can just look it up online, just look up LifeLock,
Oh,
and
okay.
yes, it is really good. And they do constant monitoring. They go into the deep web. They're monitoring the deep web for all your information. And what they'll do is they'll come back and they'll give you a report and say, hey, your password, we found your password on the deep web. You may want to, and they'll recommend changing it or something like that. So yes, identity theft is one of the biggest things you see. Identity theft, title theft is huge.
One thing we can do to avoid identity theft is to freeze your credit, and in North Carolina, it's free
Yes,
to freeze and to file.
yeah, freezing your credit, throwing your credit, but again, they're more, they're not after your money as much as they're after your identity. It's to them that's pocket change, but unless you're Bill Gates, then, but the idea is identity theft is huge, and they don't talk about this stuff. You don't hear it on the news, but here's the other thing. People that have their identity stolen, a lot of them don't report it either. They're like, all right, I'm just going to get all new credit cards and all new this and leave it, but they're upset about it, but they don't say anything, or they'll go, and unfortunately, we don't have a good task force. Now, you can contact the FBI, they'll start taking it and they'll hunt it down as best they can, but it's not something that really is out there, to them. There's other things that they think is more important, and I'm sorry, but identity theft is huge. Title theft is huge. If they can get, into the titles of different things, guess what? They also get your identity. Because on your title is a lot of information that you have, where you live, where, everything. And that's one of the biggest things. Title theft is not hard either. I was watching a thing, and it's only one page that they have to print out. So, but identity theft, LifeLock, I do recommend that. It's, they put I think there's slogans, was it like $1 million to help with the lawyers to get your stuff back?
The restoration, yeah.
The restoration, yeah.
Now, on most of these identity thefts, foreign characters,
Yes. I can't guarantee it's all foreign, but yes. you have a lot of state-sponsored, what we call state-sponsored, theft, which comes from countries like over in the Middle East, and
Nigeria?
that's where my brother, he's a prince over there. He keeps wanting me to send him some money. But yeah, Nigeria is a good one. Has it? A lot of the Saudi area, they support this. They pay these people to sit and learn it, and they pay for that. Because if they can do it, they can take that identity and it goes into the dark web to fund other things. China's one of the biggest ones out there. We talk about network speed, right? Here, everybody says, oh, I want to get a better network speed. Over in China, their network speed is probably 3 times as fast as what we can get here in the United States. It's just wide open because they sponsor that. And the only ones that can do it are the ones that are paid by the government. So, if you're over in China, you're not getting on, going out to a cafe and saying, hey, let me hop on the hotspot here. No, that doesn't happen. But, if over there, their network speed is really fast. My son is in the military and he just came back from South Korea. And even there, he was impressed. He's like, speed over there is so fast. It's just really, really fast. And then he comes back here and he's like, he can't understand why on a military base, he's running slow. But they do it because at pay, they're getting, all that information. So, over here in the United States, we have what we call script kiddies. Now, we do have some really legit hackers. Don't get me wrong. There are some hackers out there that are, just amazing with what they can do. But most of them here are what we call script kiddies, or they can copy something off the internet and do something just to see what kind of trouble they can get into, just to play around. Mm-hmm. And usually it's the script kiddie that gets interested in it and they want to learn more. And they start talking and then they start doing different things. And they go out and they buy a type of router called an onion router, which it's called that because it has so many layers. So they can't just hack right into it. And this way they can get deeper into the web. And then, but unfortunately, it's there are big sharks down there. And if you don't know what you're doing, they'll feed you in here and they'll just take you out. So.
Can you give us some insight into what kind of speed we're going to be getting from the new system and what kind of bandwidth we might be able to achieve?
No. I honestly don't know all that. That's on the project management side. I don't know. I think that from what I heard, you guys are going to be getting 10 up and 10 down, which is, when I say up and down, it's upload and download speed. So it's 10 gigs upload and 10 gigs down, I think it is, or I don't know what, I don't know for sure. But I think that's what he had said was 10 and 10. So, it's going to be huge, because I think you guys are at like 5 now, aren't you?
7.
7? Yeah. So, and that should be happening soon. I don't know, but again, that's project management side, so I don't know all that. Yes, sir.
It's interesting. I check the speed. I check it occasionally when I have a little problem. I checked the speed yesterday on the resident side of it, and I actually got 12 and 12.
See?
Today.
So,
or yesterday.
So they may have already upped the speed of it already. Now, when they say 10, you're going to get right around 10. And don't sit there and say, hey, well, I checked it and I only got 8. Well, it all depends on how much is being used at that time. You know, it's gonna fluctuate, but for the most part, you guys are gonna get 10. You may be getting 12. It may go up to, 15 for all we know. I mean, but it all depends on who's using it, what kind of bandwidth is being used. But for the average, you should be getting right around 10. So, and that's not bad. That's better than what I got at home.
Another question about streaming. How much in terms of bandwidth do we need for streaming, live streaming?
Good question. So, if you want to live stream, honestly, you can live stream with 1 gigabyte. 1 and 2 gigabyte upload download will still stream. Now, if you want to go into we'll say the 1080p, the really high def stuff, you're going to need a faster one. For most standard streaming, you guys should be able to do that easily now. If you're getting, 7 or whatever, you should be able to get that now. Again, like I said, I live way out in the country, right? And I actually went to Spectrum and I asked them, I said, hey, can we get either cable or fiber running down my road? And the guy sat there and said, well, let me check up the audits or whatever. And he looked and pulled up my address. He said, nope. He says, now you can pay for the construction, which is $200 a foot. I'm like, no. But the idea was where I live, I'm so far off the road, and so far, my road's 2 miles long, and there's only 11 houses. Their policy is 12 houses per mile.
We were 1 mile away, and our whole community wanted to get it.
Now, you were, well,
So we have to
DirecTV. And I did DirecTV for a while, and I didn't like it because they put a cap on it. But the thing is also is how many are on that road. Like I said, we have 11 houses on our road. It's a 2 mile road. And they won't do it because their policy is 12 houses per mile. So, yeah, and they don't care. They're like, nope. But yeah, so what I actually do, I went to Verizon and got a hotspot. So I run a hotspot, which gives me unlimited data, and I can run that, so I can sit there and have my TV and all hooked up. Now I don't get the speed. You guys are even getting better speed than I get. I mean, I'm averaging 2 to 3 up and down. So, but I can still stream TV. Now I don't try to do HD TV. I don't look for these really high def things. And I can still do it. So to stream, now when they finish all the work and do everything, you guys aren't going to question having a problem or having any issues with that.
Can you talk about VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol?
Sure. VoIP, VoIP. So VoIP is, like you said, stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. And that is another tech term, but what that is internet phone. So you can, instead of having like just a straight landline, where landlines really still, I think, are still pretty much analog, but it uses the internet. So it goes across the internet. Now, yes and no. Our phones use cellular. Voice over will actually go through the internet itself. It's really good. The technology has increased so much. The problem at first when you had it was what we would call lag, or latency. So you go on there and say, hey, Bob. And all of a sudden, a few seconds later, you hear, hey, Bob. You know? But they've sped it up. And that was before, that was a lot slower. Now we're talking gigabit data transfer. Now it's almost seamless. The only thing is the latency all depends on like how long it takes to transfer to the internet. Like here we use point-to-point internet, so it goes up to our satellite station or whatever, and then so there may be a millisecond or 2 millisecond delay, but voice over internet protocol should work pretty easily. I don't think you guys will have a problem with that.
You have to have electricity for that.
Yep.
Is that your power about to find it?
Yep. Had a guy sat there and he sat there and power went out the other week or whatever. And he sat there and he was working on his computer. He's got monitors hooked up to his computer. Everything went out, and all of a sudden his computer stayed on. He's like, how'd that happen? Didn't realize it's a laptop which has a battery in it. And he's like, oh. But he was able to get on his, his Wi-Fi was down though, because that's all part of how he has the power. So, yeah.
That's why we have cell phones,
Yeah, actually, yes, that's a great thing to do because your cell phone has a hotspot built in. You can always jump onto that hotspot. I mean, if you lose power and the tower would be down, I mean, that's just like catastrophic type thing. But most likely the tower will be, you should be able to use your hotspot. So, yeah, other than that, that's about all I have. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions, and glad to help. Yes.
My phone keeps going off Wi-Fi.
Okay.
It's off now. I go back to settings and
All right.
I called yesterday and they didn't help me.
I'll take a look at it. Are you on resident or?
Resident.
Okay. Yeah.
But it keeps, my phone, my iPad, they keep going off. Every time my phone goes off, it goes, Wi-Fi goes off.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay, all right, appreciate it. I have scary things.
Mhm.
One other customer support. Yes.
Do you have PayPal?
I think I might want to install it. I don't have it.
Let's take a look at it. Most likely it's spam.
Yes. I
Well, first, yeah, so it's sending it out to customers.
Oh, okay. She said it's
Yeah. So, yeah, they're not even reaching out to you. It looks legit, but it's. And the funny thing is, a lot of these text messages you guys are going to get that say, "Oh, click on this link," and it takes you to. It may look exactly like Amazon. They take their time to make it look legit. But I tell people, if you get something and you're not sure about it, close your email and go into the app. Like if it's Amazon, go into that. Is it like 16 different people or? Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's from Customer Support Department. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. At gmail.com. It's a Gmail, which is a Yeah.
Customer support department is
No,
BS.
Gene, you know, yeah, it's,
It's for their support, not
and that's exactly it, because what they're doing, that's what we call phishing email. They send it out to a bunch of people and hope for one bite. That's all they need is one bite. That's why I tell people, if you don't know it, delete it. If you get a phone call, and you aren't expecting it, voicemail. My wife hates it. She says, why do you always let her thing go to voicemail? I said, I wasn't expecting you to call me. She goes, I'm your wife. I'm supposed to call.
Wouldn't you recognize the number?
Oh yeah, it comes up to that. But I've also had it where it doesn't take much for someone to be able to spoof a number. There's actually a program you can download for free. Yeah, and you can spoof anybody's number.
I used to live in Maryland, so I got all of our calls.
Mhm. Yep, if you don't recognize it, delete it. If you don't know it, when they're calling you, let it go to voicemail. And if they need to reach you, they can, send a voicemail, leave a voicemail, or they'll text you.
Mark has been rude.
See? Yeah.
Also, just hang up.
But yeah, and if you ever make the mistake and answer it, hang up. Don't ever give your information. One of the ones they'll do now is they'll call, and the first thing they'll say is, can you hear me?
You say yes,
And you say yes.
and they got you.
That's it.
That's all you need.
All right, well, you guys have a wonderful day,
Thank you very
and I will
much.
see you guys later.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, I got you.
You know, we should, we got